Welcome back. The papers are ready. Daily Graphic starts this morning and says, race for president, all 17 confident, awaiting EC's vetting of forms. Comes with a photograph of some of the flag bearers of the political parties. Also on the front page, cocoa price up by 800 Ghana cedis per ton. We'll take a look at those stories later on. The Daily Guide says, NPP rejects CHRAJ report on Mahama Ford. The story is captured on page 3, and GCB credit report reveals unsecured loans, and minister blows 80,000 cedis on Shatta Wale. The BNFT says economic challenges hit life insurers as growth decline, but potential remains. That's on the front page of the BNFT. Today newspaper says drama at EC over PPP flag bearers filing fee. And one interesting story here, 2,807 men beaten by wives in 2015. That's according to Dovsu. Interesting one there. Daily Statesman says NDC grabs Ghana lands, Hearts Park, military, aviation, CSIR, and Gimpa lands. All of them mentioned in there. Also reporting a story of the Mahama Ford investigations. CHRAJ did cover up in Ford saga. Mahama took a bribe. That's according to the NPP. The finder says, we will supply best diesel at no extra cost. Bulk oil distributors saying that. The finder also has a story. Ford gift to Mahama is a bribe. NPP insists. And the Business Day says, more workers steal company funds. $3.5 trillion stolen yearly. That's on the front page of the Business Day, and also Ghanaian businesses are local champions. My guest this morning to my extreme right is the Member of Parliament for the Futu constituency, Honorable Alexander Afeyomakin. Good morning.
Right.
I hope you're doing great.
Well, it's been stressful.
The campaigning.
Yes. We are in hygiene, so you can imagine. In the devotions.
Particularly campaigning and talking about security of those of you who are out there campaigning, members of parliament who are not protected by policemen. How difficult is that?
Well, I'm sure the security agencies know that we are vulnerable going out without protection. Look, not too long ago, we had a member of parliament in the British Parliament who on her campaign was just hacked to death, Joe Cox, in an advanced democracy, because perhaps they took the security of their MPs for granted. Now you go out there without any form of protection. The last time some extremists were pelting stones when I was campaigning, and it hit the forehead of a lady. I was their target. It happened on 2 occasions. In 2012, when I was campaigning, I raised the concern several times. The police commander would not mind me. Until 1 week to the election, when I was nearly killed by the NDC youth, constituency youth organizer. Then they offered protection. My question is, should they wait for somebody to die before they wake up to that reality? The security agencies must understand, particularly the IGP, must know that it is the right of members of parliament to have police protection or have protection from the state. We are public officers. We cannot plead for same. It is our right, far right, they must provide.
For members of parliament, or you're pleading for every public officer?
I'm making a twofold argument.
Okay.
For members of parliament, we are public officers. Why? The state is providing for ministers of state, the judiciary, council of state, they have police protection. Senior members of the corporate sector of our economy are given police protection. Some individuals who are close to government have police protection. I do not want to mention names here. What at all is wrong for providing?
Can the state afford it?
Oh, really? I'm surprised.
No, if the state,
if
you
this argument, of course,
so you
I get disappointed in this argument, of course. If the state cannot afford to provide for its members of parliament in terms of their security, then we are not serious in this democracy. Why? 275, if you cannot afford their security, then reduce the number to the number that you can afford. Look, our brother, J.B. Dankwedu, was murdered. You you think that if he had police protection, 24-hour guard, this would have happened? Or even if it had, maybe police would have gotten somewhere in terms of investigation. During the limited registration exercise, one of our colleagues was beaten in Brown. He was beaten by a candidate's bodyguard or so. If the man had police protection, would this happen? I'm saying that at this time, we become more vulnerable, particularly so when some of us are campaigning. We are in office and we are seeking re-election. That must be taken seriously.
Okay.
Then apart from that, those who are PCs and are not public officers, there should be an arrangement to provide them some protection at their mini rallies, their outings and all that. We must not, look, the stakes in these elections are high. You heard what happened at my good brother's constituency, Ejumako.
I don't believe so.
Oh, the stakes are high.
Well, I don't think
take
so.
No. NDC wants a third term. We have suffered 2 defeats. We want to come to power. There are other political parties who also want to make impact. So obviously, don't take it in a negative. I'm saying the stakes are high.
Okay, then I go with you. Yes.
Everybody wants to win. And I'm saying that we cannot also take for granted those irresponsible hooligans we find themselves trying to shower praises and want us to believe that they really love us. Okay. Those extremists we find in our various corners, they are there. So the police should know. They shouldn't wait. Everybody is talking about peace. Peace, peace, peace. What is peace? Put in the necessary support systems, the structures to ensure peace. You know what happened at the Jumako? It's bad. We don't have to experience it on and on before we wake up to the reality. If somebody had attacked Ato, my good friend, or the candidate, why? What would be?
Can you afford your own security, members of parliament?
To the barest minimum, I can. But is it enough? Can it deter people who? Why? Police is police. The emblem of the state power, can always deter, can always give a certain impression so that people will stay up. Okay. So it is important. Although at this time it's very crucial,
I'm grateful.
They should know and do that for us. It's all right.
I'm just hoping if it's not too late. Haji Hamdatu Ibrahim is the first national vice chair of the CPP. Haji, good morning to you. And this issue, really, members of parliament, they want public security.
Hi, good morning to you and to my co-panelists. I think it's very, very important. Not just the members of parliament. I think all politicians.
All politicians.
You see, we are going for rallies and driving in darkness and so on and so forth. And then, as Honorable said, the stakes are high. Everybody wants to win. Meanwhile, we have people in this country who don't really understand what democracy means. They think maybe democracy is to fight each other with guns and stones and what have you. You have your views, I have mine. So that doesn't mean that we should fight as Ghanaians. And I think we need massive education when it comes to this. Some of us who have the opportunity to sit on television, we have to appeal to our supporters. Honorable, these 2 honorables sitting on your they are in parliament. When they argue, you think that maybe they are at each other's throat. But when they are on break, go and see the way they exchange maybe pleasantries and what have you. We are all Ghanaians. But I think the security is very, very important. It's very, very important because they are members of parliament. So should we wait for somebody to be attacked or killed like what JB suffered before we give them protection? I think maybe even if we are not able to provide them security for the 4-year tenure, I think when it is an election year, I think that security must be there. So that, who knows? Because I think it's very, very serious. What we are hearing and what we are reading in newspapers is not very palatable. People are sitting on TV, religious bodies, peace council, and what have you are calling for peace, peace, peace. Also, the police must be up and doing. They must make sure that, because Electoral Commission have come out with some, is it hotspot?
Yes, about
flash. Yes, so I think we should look at that too and be very careful with candidates who are campaigning around that area. But I was surprised when the Gosu place was not captured in that. You remember when somebody was openly firing into the air?
Right.
So I think the security, maybe the EC also did it in collaboration with the security agents, because it's not an investigative body that can know where exactly there are trouble sports. You understand what I mean? So I think I am in total support
of that. Should we listen to the cost argument that is so expensive? We need to do all that.
But what about the peace and anarchy? Which one is more expensive? Which one is more expensive? Look at what is happening across the world. People are putting more investment and people are still dying. So it's better we prevent it than waiting for it to happen before we start preventing. And I'm sure on this call, all the political parties will support this because we want
the NDC and the MPP.
We want our parliamentarians to be protected, and inshallah, the candidates we are fielding this time around, we are going to uproot most of the MPP and NDC candidates. So therefore, we all need protection. I wouldn't say because they are NDC or MPP parliamentarians.
That's why they need
No. We are all Ghanaians and we need to protect our members.
I'm grateful. Haji Hamdatu Ibrahim is the first national vice chair of the CPP. Kwame Akpoja is member of parliament for the Adaklu constituency. Kwame, good morning. And you side with Haja and Alex on this issue?
Yes. Thank you very much, my brother, and thank you. Very good morning to your cherished viewers. Well, before I go on, I'm just inviting all of you again to my 2016 festival, which the Deba is on Saturday.
This weekend?
Yes. There will be a football match, and we climbed the Adaklu Mountain, the famous Adaklu Mountain, over the weekend. So I want to see you on on Saturday.
Yes, we'll be there.
To see.
We'll start a journey on Friday.
Excellent. I'll be there to host you. Well, I think this argument keeps coming up in Parliament. We call it the 2-week uproar. Whenever any member of Parliament is attacked, everybody gets apprehensive. We talk about it, and you can be sure after 2 weeks, nobody wants to talk about it again. And sometimes members of Parliament, sometimes some of them, at least we the backbenchers, think maybe, well, leadership has got to do something more to make the case on our behalf. The argument about the cost, in fact, you will be surprised that even some members of Parliament have volunteered that they can meet the cost halfway.
All right.
If that is the worst case scenario, they can meet it halfway. But let's face this. I go to my constituency when I'm going around with my DC. My DC has got police protection.
You don't have.
I don't have. Meanwhile, I have gone to the furthest place in the constituency to probably interact with people probably more than my DC because I need the vote, so I have to go to the last person. So what risk does he carry and I don't carry?
You represent the president.
Well, the president, we have 3 arms of government. If that's the case, once you provided for the judiciary, you have provided for the executive, then what exactly is it that when it comes to the legislature, we are the low-hanging fruit that everybody says that until everybody agrees. It's as if members of Parliament are up to no good. We don't deserve anything. You understand? And I think it's becoming, look, just wait for one, God forbid, one judge to be attacked. And you see what will happen. Just wait for one member of the executive to be attacked. There will be a mobilization of security immediately. I don't think the police commander in my area knows my house. They don't care. They probably don't have, because nobody gives them that. I'm not saying, I think it's the responsibility of the state. But I think also it is because of the way these things are reported in the media. Maybe the state feels that the mood in the country is such that members of Parliament don't deserve it. Maybe that's because they will say, you probably notice, because you're a member of Parliament, anybody says anything, you don't have to respond because you need a vote. And I'm just saying that I agree with them entirely. If the state recognizes that certain members of the society, i.e. the executive, the judiciary, carry out duties on behalf of this state that exposes them to risk or something, why wouldn't that same assessment be done about members of Parliament? Look, we used to pass bills and you see people come write memos to committees threatening them like, what you are doing is going to do this, going to do this. Only God knows who thinks that you are a member of that committee or you are a member supporting a particular cause that they don't like, and will look for you in the public. So we are not asking for a policeman to be at the front of my car opening my door for me. They are saying basic, even if it's just at home, so that you know that when you are at work, your family is safe. I think that's all they're asking.
Okay, I'm grateful. Let's see how your leadership can play a role in getting perhaps the executive to deal with it. Yeah,
well, we belong to an organization. I don't think myself and Honorable Markin can go to the IGP directly. We have leadership,
right.
and time and again we are told they are doing something about it. We are just saying that we should encourage them to work more to see if government can provide this for us. Otherwise, I mean, I don't think the shout of myself and my brother alone is enough, because there's cost implication. There's as for the numbers and other things, there's a police, man or woman in a few numbers in every district or every constituency. One can be detailed.
So it can be done.
Of course, it can be done.
I'm grateful. Now, let's jump into the papers this morning. Let's start with the CHRAJ issue. The finder says Ford gave to Mahama is a bribe. NPP insist. The Daily Statesman says CHRAJ did cover up in Ford saga. Mahama took a bribe. NPP insist. That's a story from the investigations. Let me start with you, Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Mark. And even before the story went to CHRAJ, there was back and forth as to whether CHRAJ is the right institution to engage in that. Let's start our conversation from there. CHRAJ investigating that, you think they were the right institution?
Well, right. Let me first do the legal argument, then we follow with the political opinion.
All right.
If you look carefully at Article 218 of the Constitution, where the mandate of CHRAJ is clearly spelled out, you look in particular at Article 218A and E, where it is provided that CHRAJ would have general powers to investigate issues of corruption, etc., etc. Now, notwithstanding this general mandate or this general power of CHRAJ, there are also some specific provisions in the Constitution which spell out what ought to be done in the event of an alleged misconduct by Mr. President. So clearly, in my view, with those specific, any form of misconduct, per the provisions of this Constitution, may lead to the removal of the President, or the President could be exonerated when the proper procedures are followed. So whoever sent the petition to CHRAJ did so wrongly, by the way. So now, if you read these provisions, it means that where this misconduct is alleged, like for instance, Manasseh has done his investigation or whatever, he could now petition Parliament. Because from the provisions I've just read, an ordinary citizen on his own cannot initiate a removal proceedings against the President. If he finds any misconduct of the President to be that which would amount to removal from office, this must be properly brought to the attention of Parliament. Then Parliament itself cannot, at the outset of it, even initiate any removal proceedings. Parliament can do so by writing to the Speaker, who then would forward to the Chief Justice. Then the Chief Justice would constitute this tribunal. So it is the findings of the tribunal which will say that no, we find a prima facie case. So then the next step will be triggered, which would now be talking about the 2/3 and whatnot, etc., as you read on in the Constitution. So what CHRAJ has done, isn't it here nor there? I don't see, it's a much ado about nothing. By the way, granted CHRAJ had found the President guilty, what would have been the next step?
I see.
What would have been the next step? If, let's take it that CHRAJ had found Mr. President guilty, what would have been the next step? The next step would have been that they will now send a report to Parliament, or they will now send a report to the Chief Justice. Sometimes in this country, we're not ready to read. We're not ready to follow due process. We do things anyhow for whatever convenience and all that. So I'm sure that in future, anybody who wants to bring an action against the President would properly situate it. Maybe because in the past, some people brought actions against the President of the Republic by routing it through CHRAJ. It has become a practice. But I dare say that these things have no solid grounds in law.
And CHRAJ cannot investigate these things.
CHRAJ has general powers to investigate public officers, but per the provisions as I've read, Article 69, carefully read, those provisions oust the jurisdiction of CHRAJ when it comes to the President in this matter. Now let's look at the political aspect of it. CHRAJ claims, although it is so without jurisdiction, but they have come out with a report and they claim that Mr. President violated his own code of ethics,
Code of conduct.
Code of
for
conduct.
public officers.
Yes, which he himself set up. So on that score, he's guilty of that. But he does not pronounce him in its conclusions. I am saying that beyond the issue of legality and jurisdiction, people have tried hard to say that, look, Mr. President actually placed the vehicle at the disposal of the state. That has been the argument. That yes, Mr. President received a gift, but immediately he did so, same was placed at the disposal of the state, and it is part of the presidential pool. There are questions that are being asked, which unfortunately the government has not been forthright in coming up with those answers. What about the registration? The man transferred the vehicle in the name of the president. Are we aware whether or not Mr. President transferred the vehicle to the state, from him to the state?
The registration you're talking about.
Yeah, the registration. And when? Are documents available? Are they in the public domain? Were they publicly announced? At what point? The vehicle itself, which is subject of all these debates, is the vehicle known? Has the general public seen that vehicle? Then we come to the other flip side of it. The relationship, we are told, and this has not been denied. You know, I have heard Mr. President on this matter. I have heard some of the communicators, in particular the Minister of Communication, coming out on this matter. They have limited themselves to the issue of the placement of the vehicle. What they have not said, what they have not discussed, is the relationship. You know, there was this aspect that, look, the man wanted contracts and he could not. And when Mr. President was a vice president, a relationship started. And out of that relationship resulted in this Ford vehicle thing. We don't know about the president's side on this matter. And the statement by his lawyers did not also specifically deal with this matter. So there are still matters in the limbo. Obviously, we are politicians. And when these matters, especially so, when we are all concerned about the cost of projects to the state, when we are concerned about how our resources are being abused, you look at situations where government says, I've done this project. Kumasi Airport is an example, $29 million. You go there, there is no infrastructure, mere expansion of runway and fixing of aeronautical lights. By which standard are we measuring that cost? The Ghanaian public is concerned. Cost of project. I think the running mate of my party, Dr. Baumia, gave an example of two bungalows. One in 2007 in Kufuor's era, and another in the NDC administration. And if you look at it, astronomical jump, over 200%. The same project way back about 6 years ago or 8 years ago, at this time, it is costing so much. So we're concerned. The IMF has come out to tell us that we haven't gone to them for external credit facility because we didn't have sufficient resources to sustain our economy, but because we abuse our oil revenue.
Okay, wrap up for me.
And because we were so much endowed, but we abused him, subjected it to all manner of profligate expenditure. And today we are suffering. I have repeated on your program that even government of Ghana, in assessing CDB loan, could not manage the agreement such that within 3 years, government of Ghana had paid over $200 million free.
So your point is that
I've said so severally.
Because the projects, the cost of these projects are so high, we can look at some of this gift as bribe. Is that what you're saying?
We can relate and ask, what is the connection?
Okay.
After all, the man has said his side of it, and it is important that the other side give a response as appropriate. But look, right. Another point I want to make.
Oh, here, quickly.
Very objectively.
You've been talking for 10 minutes. Let me get
Why is it that some of these media, so-called investigative journalists, they do their work and drop it in the public domain without also trying to follow due process? I have asked myself several questions. Manasseh did his work. So far, he just drops it into the public domain. For what effect? If you really want to, because we are all public officers, we all are vulnerable. If it is happening to somebody and you are not happy, it means that the right thing must be done, so that if you really want to follow due process to say that somebody has erred, do that. You do that and put it in the public domain. You remember that Raymond Asher some time ago about Anani, where Supreme Court ruled that, look, the mere fact that you make the allegation in public domain does not amount to a proper complaint being laid. So those who are involved in some of these things must also watch it, because you just don't do it and
put it in the
out
public
there
domain.
and then leave it.
All
if
right.
you don't want to follow through, then you better
I'm grateful.
Don't waste your time.
I'm grateful. Hajia, for your party, this Ford issue has resulted in some, if I put it, misunderstanding, where, for instance, your youth organizer is said to have made some remarks against your flag bearer because of a comment he made at a debate when asked about it. Now, how did you see the report of the CHRAJ suggesting that there was no conflict of interest, even though the president violated Ghana's gift policy?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think let me straighten some record, because Saturday I was watching your program.
Right.
And then one panelist was saying that the CPP suspended their youth organizer because of the Ford gift. That was not the issue. We said we have a flag bearer. The flag bearer's face is going to be on the ballot. That's number one.
Right.
Let's assume, without admitting, that the flag bearer said something that did not go down well with these two gentlemen. Was that the right place to attack the flag bearer? So we said they didn't use the right procedure.
Not because they
Not
raised
because
issues with the gift.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And then our flag bearer, he's a lawyer, just like Afinya Marcus. He quoted some articles. In fact, I was watching him because I learned a lot
from what he just said.
From what he said, because he is even saying that the CHRAJ didn't have even the jury to
The
mandate to sit on this matter
at all.
So therefore, those who even rushed to CHRAJ, and why did even CHRAJ receive the petition
if they didn't have the
that mandate? So they put people in a confused state, if I may say this. So for us, our flag bearer said he didn't see it as bribe or corrupt. That was what.
Even before the investigation.
Even before the investigation. Now the investigative body has come out to say that it was not corruption, bribery, but it found out that the president himself violated his code of conduct, which all of us are not happy about. That one is just true. If maybe you have put certain guidelines in place, you should be the person who will follow it judiciously. That's our understanding. But well, now, since I've gotten some education this morning, can I ask that, which means since CHRAJ are not the body mandated to investigate the president, and you know, Honorable raised a very important issue. You know, since time immemorial, from Rawlins's time, you see that an individual will just take a petition to CHRAJ for a president to be investigated, and you see that at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. So, those of us who are not lawyers, to read the law and really understand it, which means there's some misinformation somewhere that Ghanaians don't really understand, that, oh, maybe the only body that can investigate the president is the court, isn't it? Petition the
speaker.
The speaker send it to the chief justice. The chief justice will form a committee that will investigate, and the final decision will be taken. So I think this is where we find ourselves to be in a very tight corner. So which means the work CHRAJ did was nothing. Because which means this one, nobody can even take it to challenge the president or anything else. So can I ask that if those who petition CHRAJ are not satisfied, they can go through what Honorable is saying? Because some people also went through the parliament and then nothing came out. It was stopped, isn't it, by the Speaker of Parliament?
Right.
So I was trying to find out, did the Speaker do the right thing by stopping that? If he is also a lawyer, he has practiced law not today, to know that maybe even because he said an institution like CHRAJ is already investigating the matter. So that was why he did
without interjecting or stopping you.
Yes.
The petition, the application by the minority was for a bipartisan committee
right,
to look into the matter. And
that's what the speaker shut down.
CHRAJ was, but I would want, since that application emanated from my corner, my legal views on it, unfortunately, I'm unable to express them now. But I think I've sufficiently laid out what my views are on the 69.
Yes,
all right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I think our position as a party, the MPP are saying they have rejected it. It's full of, what have you?
They said it's a bribe. According to them,
a bribe.
Yeah.
And I still stand by the public pronouncement of my flag bearer. That is not bribe. I still stand by it.
Hajj, I'm grateful for your time. Kwame, so the NPP says this is a bribe. Honorable Afinyo is trying to let us in on what he thinks about CHRAJ investigating the issue. But the NPP claims that what CHRAJ did is a cover-up and the fraud is a bribe.
Isn't it amazing that if you go back and check the days when people accused President Kufuor of basically buying the hotel in front of his house. If you check history, the comment from many people higher up in the NPP party was, if that's the case, do the right thing. And then what did Ghanaians do? The people who were not happy, they went to CHRAJ. The NPP didn't come out to say that it was wrong. Going to CHRAJ was the wrong thing. And I completely disagree with my brother. I'm not a lawyer, but to say that the CHRAJ has no business investigating the president, I don't think that's what the Constitution says. I'm happy he says that CHRAJ can generally investigate any act of malfeasance if it comes if it's against a public official. The president is a public official,
right?
So there's nothing wrong. You can decide to say that they could have gone this way or the other way, but in a case, don't forget, there is no evidence. People were talking about, is it that people were asking question, why did the president take it? Why did it? Nobody have evidence that the president did this under any malicious circumstances. So the argument was, let's investigate. In fact, go to history, go to this thing. Even if you Google, you would hear even some NPP members saying that CHRAJ should investigate. And indeed, when CHRAJ started investigation, some of them said they are happy that CHRAJ has started and they are waiting for what do you call it, for the outcome. All of a sudden, they shouldn't have gone to CHRAJ or at all. Of course, he is not the one who took the case to the CHRAJ, but he knows his party was at the helm of people who took the issue to CHRAJ. So the talk, let's leave that aside as if, because I don't want a viewer to think that CHRAJ aired. CHRAJ aired.
Kwame, you are saying, are you suggesting the MPP took the case to CHRAJ?
Well, I mean, just listen to what, I mean, you know the individuals who took the case.
Okay.
Court. I mean, we have to be honest in this country. They are not members of NDC. You understand? And did NPP, anybody in NPP...
And they are not members of NPP too, you know that.
Well, I mean, did anybody in NPP say that they agree with this and they are waiting for the outcome? Secondly, I'm happy my brother said that the reasons Speaker dismissed the case was simply because he says there's history to this. And the fact that other state institutions are embarking on the same this thing, it was completely not necessary for Parliament to do same. So let's wait. Let's leave it. But he went further and linked this to cost of project. Look, as we sit here, there's no evidence. People who take bribe don't take bribe on behalf of the state. If people take bribe, they take it on their own, for their own benefit. From the very first day that this gift came into the name of Ghana, has been declared to the last day. Indeed, if you were to ask me, where is the vehicle that was given to President Kufuor by Gaddafi? I have not seen it before. I don't know where it is. So are we saying that that vehicle should have been a public transport or a taxi on the road for everybody to know that this is the vehicle? The vehicle was duly and was never registered in the name of the president. You understand? So the speculations. And he went further to suggest that because of cost of projects and other things. Look, I've always said this, and I said this to senior members of parliament as well, that it is very wrong for you to take a cost of maybe, let's say, even a 6-unit classroom and say that there's a biblical quotation for it, that if it's 200, it's 200, because construction projects vary from place to place under different circumstances. You understand? Because that was what led. You remember when the Ofankor Road project came to Parliament, a project that allegedly started with 7 million, and then it went to 40 million. By the time we realized 128 million Ghana cedi. And somebody was like, was it because NPP awarded it and was taking bribe from the contractor, and then the contractor kept increasing the price? And I said, no, the document, as a professional, the document I saw didn't suggest that. But if we want to put on the NPP logic, it would have meant that somebody did that to steal the money. If you look at that project as an architect, I have no reason, not in my life, to understand why a project which was funded by government, you went ahead to buy a BMW saloon car on a road project to be done, for $160,000 under President Kufuor. And somebody said there were professionals. There were NPP people who signed that and said, yes, it's good. Let's buy a BMW saloon car to supervise a road project for $160,000. You understand? We left that. But you see, I will go back and put on my professional hat and say that just by saying a project cost vary
from year,
does not necessarily mean that the project is inflated. Just maybe less than 100 meters away from you and I is Flagstaff House. When Shapuji of India wanted to build this, we were told this was about $39 million. Go and check the records. It will tell you that that project was nearing $100 million. Even before
we were told certain additional...
Exactly. Before the project was handed over. Not even the air condition works. All the central air condition was scrapped even before the building was started using. So if you go to Flagstaff House now, all the building, even the air handling unit, are a split air condition they planted. If you go to the pavement there, it was as if blind people laid the pavement. But we paid close to $100 million. But you see, professionally, I will say that not until I read the details of what additional works were instructed, it is difficult for me to say it was inflated because somebody wanted to steal money. So when they go on this tangent that, look, when Nana Akufo-Addo talked about this, Kaswa interchange, this thing, of course, Parliament, the country encouraged Parliament. We recall the document. We saw this thing. It was, in fact, the NPP MP of the area. When we went there, when we could see a polyclinic, a school, a road, even the interchange itself is just one part of the road. The loop and all those things that are being built, you ask yourself, on what basis did Nana Akufo-Addo go saying the project cost was inflated? Indeed, one of the respected members of Parliament is Honorable Adeomi on the NPP side. Did you ever hear him say that as a ranking member of the committee, he categorically will say that he thinks the project was inflated? He will never say that because he puts on his professional eye, like some of us, and we look at it and we say that there's nothing in terms of malfeasance on this. You see, we do this as politicians and we label each other thieves, and the public says that, yes, that what they are doing is wrong. Why on earth could this issue about a Ford gift, which is not the first time a president of Ghana received a gift, and the trail of how the vehicle came to this country to today is known, but you want to link it to inflated costs? If we do that, in fact, what we are doing is not helping anybody by not helping this country, because as I sit here, I can give you a litany of projects that started under a certain contract figure under NPP and how they ended up. I could do politics by saying that comparing the first figure, the award figure, and the completed figure, and say that somebody did this to steal money. But you see, my professional gut doesn't give me the right to do that, because a colleague might be watching me saying that, what are you talking about? Because you can go to a site, start digging, and you even have to move the whole building. Indeed, there are 6-unit classroom blocks that could cost twice. Why? Because I know of projects in schools that the only space available to the school is not outside of the boundary. It's in a ditch, and the building must fit there. By the time you finish the substructure work, the costs have probably doubled. Somebody will take a edition and say that every 6 unit classroom block costs this. Why is this one this? Maybe the DC or somebody inflated the cost. Professionally, this country is growing. We can do politics, but when it comes to certain things, let's limit it. Let's stay this argument. That CHRAJ is saying, as far as they are concerned, the president did not embark on any activity to steal, to conceal, or anything. Let's leave it like that. You may dislike it, you may take it, but I believe that what CHRAJ says is in line with what my president have always said. This activity has nothing to do with corruption, and I agree with CHRAJ.
I'm grateful.
Right.
Alec, you want to react to something you said?
Just a few responses. I mean, you see, Kwame makes the case of the Kaswa interchange. It's one consistent misrepresentation that I've always also consistently readdressed it, yet the NDC will not stop its pain. I seconded the Kaswa interchange facility in Parliament. I did.
The financial.
Yes, I did the secondment in Parliament. Now, Nanado anchored his argument of the inflated cost of the project on what I had argued in Parliament. And I was not wrong, and Nanado was not wrong. What Mr. Diomi, Honorable Diomi, said was that, look, as far as he was concerned, the project cost that was brought to him at the time was $130 million. But what they brought, the financials, the same project, they said it was 160. They were going for 178 million. They were paying 10% to the financiers for insurance, also doing 20% into a collection account. If you take all that out, you are left with less than 130 million. So the question I ask, in one breath, you are not doing counterpart funding. You are provided the cost of the project as being pegged at over $170 million. Then you took some quantities to the technical people at 130. There's a difference, over $40 million. Where is that coming from? Yet they conveniently try to say that Honorable Odiomi disagreed with Nanado. He never did. It's a misrepresentation.
He didn't say that Nanado didn't get the figures.
No. Odiomi never said that.
I see.
In fact, he was so hurt. But you see, this is politics.
And he has never come out to...
No, he has. No? He has. He said that.
He didn't say that?
Of course, he has. Several times. But you know, these are spin doctors. They want to take advantage. The man was talking about the figures that were given to him. Because we consulted and I argued on the floor of the house. Now, when you come to the Ofanko, I want to ask a question. Yeah. The Ofanko project, was it a GOG funded project or it was from some financiers?
Hold on.
You are claiming that. No. I'm asking you rhetorical. I don't expect you to answer me. No. You listen to me. No. Don't worry. It's very rhetorical. You are claiming that the BMW was bought $160 million.
No,
you have
$160,000. Yes. I'm not too sure that your figure is accurate. But
okay, so a BMW salon car for a road project. I'll give you the benefit
of that. That make available the document at the next available opportunity on this show. Okay. Meanwhile, even if granted you were right, these vehicles at the time you assumed office, these vehicles had not been bought, had not been brought either. Yet, you you assumed office in 2009. These vehicles eventually landed or arrived, and your ministers used them. It even became a subject of controversy. My uncle Joe Gidisu, you know that saga. Now, to conclude on this same matter, he's talking about we changing positions. I think on the issue of CHRAJ and its mandate, I have solely relied on the Constitution. And I've said that in this country, we all don't pay regard to the books and the things that we're supposed to read to make a point. I thought you were going to agree with me, but you misunderstood me and you quickly wanted to run to town by saying that we're changing position. Look, when it comes to issues of allegation, somebody labeling you as corrupt, somebody attacking your integrity, it's something, and I agree with you, it's something that we must not play politics with. So if anybody is coming out, we should give the person the opportunity or put him to the strictest proof. I am saying that CHRAJ never had any mandate to do what it did. Whatever it has reported is void. It has no legal effect because Madam asked the question. If somebody disagrees with the outcome of CHRAJ report, what does the person do? What can the person do? What is the next step? Now they have come out to say that, oh, they've indicted the president on his own code of conduct policy. What is the next step? Does that not amount to a misconduct? If it does, what can a citizen of Ghana do? CHRAJ has no mandate when it comes to the president.
Just a short one. You see, I'm happy with one of the things my brother said. It's a defect in the way bills are brought to Parliament. You see, when he was speaking, he says that he sits on the Finance Committee. When the document came to them at Finance Committee, it was a certain figure. When it came back to the Technical Committee, which is the Road and Transport, the figure changed.
No, it was with them first.
Yes,
they went first to them
see,
as a technical committee.
The simple thing is that, like we always say, the issue about borrowing or this kind of thing should be done concurrently, so that, look, if you want to build a house,
so don't blame Nanado.
No, you see,
so
but Nanado
all right.
No,
okay. So,
you made a point.
Can we?
So that means that you don't have to blame Nanado and blame me either.
Had all the opportunities.
No, but I argued in Parliament.
I think
no, attack me.
Oh,
I argued. No,
why
right.
don't you? Let's
Alex, I think Kwame's argument is simple. Kwame is saying that your idea of saying that a project in 2016 is X, a project in 2013 is Y, and so there's corruption. He thinks that that is not right.
No,
that is all that is standard.
There's a standard to measure things. He knows.
Listen, and
he knows.
Oh no,
he knows.
hold on.
There's a standard.
He's taking my time. Just to conclude on the BMW he's talking about. You see, when you sign a contract with an agency, you have signed a contract. Supply this on a certain date. It is this is how we lead ourselves into a judgment day. And then just because government changes, you say that we don't want this. But people, probably the person have ordered, and I'm told the BMW.
So who used it?
Was custom. No, hold on. Was custom made. The vehicle was bought by them, but because we realized it could not have been a project monitoring vehicle, so it was received and given to the state. So it could not be used.
Right.
Listen. It is true that the vehicle was still under the road ministry, but the president at that time, President Mills, recalled the vehicle and put it in the. You see, I would say that. This is not the first time.
I want to move on.
Dr. Baumia and co have been making this and you see, when you even measure, if you measure, and I made this example to
my majority, address the
minority leader.
Address the runway
since you asked me, minority leader,
and I said,
the CDB. If you take for instance, of Fanko interchange, a road the length of road will end up being over 50 kilometers. The N1 is probably 14 kilometers. If you want to compare that, over $100 million for the N1 and then other one, you realize that you'll be making a mistake because the details are what Nana should always look at.
No. You are
and
mixing.
You guys should help him because
you are mixing the facts.
All right. Let's move on. Let's move on quickly. Let's quickly touch on this increment in the price of cocoa for the new season. Not long ago, officials of Cocoa Board had signed a $1.8 billion cocoa loan, that syndicated loan. Just a couple of days ago, the Finance Ministry announced an increase. We're told about some 11% in the price of cocoa. Now, 64 kilogram, the small bag, for those of you who know the cocoa bags, it's about 475. It used to be 420. We're told that a ton, 425, a ton is down from about 6,800 to about 7,600 thereabout. Haja, let me start with you. Now, the increment we heard, some have suggested that indeed it is good, but from the Bonafide region where it was announced, some farmers think that it could have been more than what was announced.
Yes, I think I heard it yesterday, and then we were even in a meeting when this matter came up, and then we're looking at the increments and the prevailing conditions in the country. And as you rightly said, where it was announced, people have started raising red flags. Maybe the government would have done better because they are the cocoa farmers, and the increment of 11.76 was not good enough to the cocoa farmers. You know, in fact, I must admit, I don't know really much about cocoa and farming and so on and so forth. If you recall, we were saying that from how many years ago, cocoa has never risen more than 3,000 per ton in the world market. And we were looking at other crops that could bring more revenue to this country. That was why the flag bearer was emphasizing on the almond tree, what we can get from the almond tree, and so on and so forth. So I think the government, or for that matter, the Cocoa Board, have announced this increment. And then I think the chief executive went further to say that they were going to improve on the schools in the cocoa farming areas, and that is where my interest is, because you look at where we get our cocoa and the schools that are there, the children of the cocoa farmers, whether they are benefiting from the cocoa scholarship that we are hearing. And then we should make sure that the farmers benefit from what they are doing, because if you are encouraging people to enter into cocoa farming, the chief executive announced that last year they even gave about 50 million hybrid seedling to cocoa farmers, and this year 60. And then, cocoa trees take a longer time to mature. So, as the cocoa farmers, who will be in the best position to really address this issue, because they feel the pinch. We are politicians, maybe we'll just say, we'll make politics out of it. The 11.7% is not enough, as the maybe 2-3 cocoa farmers are talking about. I think, what about the cocoa mass spraying? Is it going on? Are cocoa farmers satisfied with the incentives that are given them, and so on and so forth? That is the aspect we should be looking at. And I think where my interest is, I think we're in Gosu or something, I spoke about this, and some of the media houses captured it, about the cocoa scholarships. Because we go on a campaign, you see some farmers coming to approach those of us moving with the flag bearer. My child has gotten maybe a school in Winneba here, but I have no money. What do you do? Oh, I'm a farmer. Some will even say I'm a cocoa farmer. So it was based on the information that we gathered in the constituencies and the villages that we were going. We went to Gosu, Kukum, and so on, where the cocoa farmers are. And this was the information that we're getting. So
we're not getting the
scholarship. So why should a cocoa farmer's daughter or son be running, chasing me, stopping my car? This is what I've got. Admission of maybe 2,300, and the farmer cannot afford. You see, I wouldn't know whether maybe this people chasing us with their school requirements and are all cocoa farmers, because we didn't have time to check their backgrounds. But if it is true, then I think the cocoa sector, IEA, the Cocoa Marketing Board, should try and do something that will really inure to the benefit of the cocoa farmers. Not a situation whereby we find now that the cocoa scholarship that are supposed to go to cocoa farmers rather go to people who don't deserve it. People who don't deserve it are people who can afford, but because there are some openings that they can really tap and maybe abuse, they are doing it. I think it's not fair enough.
Haj, I'm grateful. Alex, government says the increment is expected to reduce smuggling to Ivory Coast. So, for instance, Ivory Coast did 10% for the season. We have done 11.7%. Perhaps this would deter smugglers from doing that.
But before, the chief executive was talking about increasing the cocoa from to 750 tons in the next 10 years. So I was a bit worried, because
the tonnage per year.
Because for some time, when was that? In 2007, 8, 9.
We have made about
we're talking about increasing it to 1 million. So what is stopping us from targeting to the 1 million and rather saying 750? So I was a bit worried about that listening.
All right. Alex?
Around 2011, our cocoa production had hit a record high of 1 million tons.
1 million, yes.
and there had been an incremental production line in terms of where about the 400,000 metric tons that Kufuor inherited went 600, 700, 850 and hit the 1 million ton mark as a result of the mass spraying exercise and the incentives that were in place. Now, since that time, Cocoa Board has not been able to achieve that target. It's been getting 700, 750 and all that. There are reasons to that. People have been cutting down their cocoa trees because of galamsey. And government policy has not been able to address that. The issue of mass spraying has become discriminatory. The farmers have been complaining that you would have to find your way around before you get your cocoa farm sprayed. So that is in itself is a problem. The seedlings that are being given to farmers are not being properly distributed. So that in itself is another issue, as the farmers themselves talk about. Now the government claims that it has increased the price to 11%, but it's done so by 11% because Ivory Coast has done it by 10%, and it wants to deter smuggling. Really? Right. I'm not too sure. At this time, you waited 2 months. You've lost so much. But is government really going to achieve that? I'm not too sure.
The target or the smuggling? I'm
not too sure the government, through this alone, can achieve its intention of deterring people from smuggling. The Ghanaian cocoa farmer need support. We don't want this last minute thing, like what they've done to the fishermen. For over 8 years, no fisherman in this country enjoyed credit for the supply or distribution and sale of Agbomoto. But in less than 6 months to elections, suddenly government comes in with a credit. When you came to cancel the credit policy that was initiated by Kufuor, and fishermen having suffered for 8 years, you now come and introduce some form of credit system that pay some 50% and pay the remainder later for government assemblies to guarantee the remainder of the payment. That is too late in the day, and it is political. Even so, incentives that are required for the agric and fishery sector are not there. Government declared this 2015 budget as an export-led budget that would increase in our produce from agriculture. Did the government really achieve that? Our fisher folks are suffering. Recently, we had tidal waves. In Winnipeg alone, we had over 15 canoes being destroyed by tidal wave. Government has not been able, 8 years, has not been able to deal with the issue of a landing beach project. In fact, government has cancelled the landing beach project, and it's no more a priority of government. When Mr. President came to Winnipeg, he rather found a way of misleading the people by saying that there was going to be disbursement from the CDB facility, which in fact he knew or ought to have known that its government had taken that out by capping the CDB facility.
Alex, wrap up for me. I have to wrap up.
This government, knowing that it has gotten to its wit's end, is playing populist game.
Okay.
2 months to election, it knows that it hasn't performed. It knows of the hardship. If indeed the government is unaware of the hardships, I'm sure it wouldn't have done this. But the average Ghanaian has endured so much hardship for 8 years. Children, students at the nursing school, still not being able to write their exam because of school fees. They've withdrawn allowances. Teacher trainees, they've been younged off. Okay. That if you won't vote for me, go to hell. I'm not going to restore your allowances.
Okay, Alex.
Petrol prices going
I'm grateful.
People's real income being devalued, being seriously depreciated. Okay. The Ghanaian worker has no money at all, and yet they still want to remain in power by coming out with.
Kwame, I've run out of time.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm grateful. If we had our way, government will give them even more. In fact, these countries is sustained by cocoa. People don't realize that we earn more money still from cocoa than oil. In fact, even if you shut the oil wells, this country can still survive on cocoa. So I'm very grateful for the government increasing the price of cocoa. and it would also tackle the issue of smuggling that we talked about. You notice the government is taking steps to supply new seedlings and all the incentives that we go. But let me give you something.
Alex is suggesting that there's discrimination in the supply of seedlings.
Well, I mean, I wish he provided any. I mean, we are in election year. He can throw up a lot of things for his own. But let me give you some statistics. Between 2003 and 2004, Ghana produced about 730,000 tons of cocoa. You go to 2004 and 2005 crop year, it dipped to about 500,000 tons.
From 730?
From 730.
To 500.
Yes.
730 from when?
730, 2004, 2005.
No, start from 2001.
Listen.
No,
I chose...
Alex, I've run out of time, so you just allow me.
2005.
These are figures that we can verify.
2005, 2006, it dropped to 740,000. And then 2006, 2007, it dropped to 610. What it tells you about Ghana's cocoa production is that it fluctuates in terms of tonnage, which I wish we are able to sustain it at a certain level. But it is completely falsely peddled that since NPP came to power, cocoa production in terms of tonnage has been on the up. It has always been oscillating. And the reasons, the expert can tell you, the reasons range from so many things. I'm happy he mentioned one. It is obviously more profitable to dig galamsey under a cocoa farm than to grow cocoa, especially for young people. We need to entice young people back into cocoa farming. And that's why I'm happy that some chiefs have taken very important steps, saying that don't worry about land, have land, go and get the seedling from government, I'll let you plant it for free. And those are the things that will get us.
And your government is distributing the seedlings?
Yes, they are distributing the seedlings. I am not aware of any farmer who has got problem getting seedling because he's black, white, NPP, CPP, or so and so.
You are giving more to your party.
This is for farmers. You notice this morning.
Okay.
I'm not.
Wrap up. I have stolen 7 minutes of my.
I've not have got much appetite for politics because this country deserves better than the banter. Let the facts stay, and if the facts stay, my government, President Mahama's government, will look much
after the
better person to manage this country. Well, it doesn't matter 8 years. It can be even 20 years.
Okay.
Provided
I'm grateful.
The right thing, we will be there.
Right.
All right.
To make an
no.
On behalf of the Futu people, the fisher folks. I'm for one in Juma's I say was simple.
They supplied more this into your area. No.
Okay. Alex, I've run out of that. 10 minutes into 8 o'clock. I'm grateful. All right. I'm grateful.
Right.
There's one in your house. NPP, NPP, look at the issues and then address them.
Simple for what?
Okay. All right.
What's the one in Juma's I say? It could do from me. When they do my paying,
all right.
Do you know what Ghanaians are saying? That they are sick and tired of NPP, NDC. They should allow CPP to come. You've heard that.
I have. Haji Hamdouti Ibrahim is the first national vice chair of the CPP. Alexander Fenyomak is a member of parliament for the Futu constituency. Kwame Akoja is from the Adaku constituency of the Voter. Gentlemen and lady, I'm grateful for your time. And we'll talk about the Futu some other time when we meet.